Let's get Bob Toledo in here now. It's got to be one of those tough meetings this week, huh, Coach? You guys were up on these guys, and that would have been a nice victory. But, again, they fought their rear end off, and against a good program. What's your thinking coming out of that game?
Well, as you mentioned, it was a good game. We played really hard in miserable weather. But, you look at it, Dan, we've been really good in short yardage. We were 1 of 3. On these other 2 opportunities where we didn't make it, we just flat out missed blocks. And that takes away snaps and it takes away scoring opportunities. And then passing-wise, we had several guys wide open for touchdown passes, and we didn't find them. And we ended up kicking field goals instead of getting touchdowns. So, the combination of those 2 things right there, I think, is kind of what did us in offensively, so to speak. We obviously gave up play in the kicking game, which took some momentum away and took plays away. But it was a hard-fought game, and it was tough to swallow at the end to lose it that way.
You know what, too, Coach? Looking back on that game and looking at the penalties in the game, too, 75 yards, you lose field position when you got 8 penalties for 75 yards, especially when you're struggling in the passing game. That's got to hurt your field position.
Well, you're right. And, one of the things we've kind of prided ourselves on is we haven't had a lot of penalties, particularly on offense, and we had 5 in this game. We had 2 by our offensive lineman, 1 on a big play to start the game. We went down to inside the 10, and we had a holding penalty. We had to bring it back. We ended up getting a field goal when we should have maybe scored a touchdown. That's another opportunity. And then, our tight ends, we had 3 tight ends jump off sides, false starts, and that takes you out of drives too. So, yeah, the penalties definitely hurt us as well.
Pre-game snap penalties drive me insane, Coach. I mean, because I just, to me, it's a lack of focus. Is it the environment again? It was 9 degrees, California kids going there a little bit. Lack of focus, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know if that's the case. It was really loud, I'll tell you, for the amount of people. It was loud, and the tight ends were the guys that did it. And one of the things that Boise did is they were stemming. As you well know, stemming means you move from one alignment to another. And they were yelling go, and our tight ends were on the end of the line of scrimmage. And of course, they hear the go. It almost sounds like our quarterback saying go. So, I hate to make excuses for them, but our 3 illegal procedures were the tight ends, which are on the end of the line of scrimmage. They're the ones that jumped.
Coach, how'd Quinn Kaler play?
Average at best. He could play better. He, like I said, he had guys wide open for touchdowns. He didn't find them. He was a little skittish in the pocket, and I can understand that because of that shoulder. I mean, he's hurting bad. He couldn't even throw a pass yesterday. So, he's hurting. He's trying his best, but he did miss some guys that were open and didn't play as well as he needs to be for us to win. He did manage the game and do things, got us in the right protections, checked us to the right runs. But from a passing standpoint, he's got to hit guys when they're open.
Coach, when you lose a tough game like this, going forward, you got Air Force coming up in the next one. What are you telling the guys? Because obviously a bowl game is still out there to be had.
Well, actually, it's kind of crazy. Our side of the division, we're tied for first still. And, if you look at Nevada, they still got a couple tough games to play. And if they lose one more or Fresno loses, they're out. So, I mean, they could both possibly lose a game. If we could win the next 2, we'd actually win the division on our side, which is kind of unbelievable, but it's still a possibility, and that's what we're playing on. And plus, we're trying to play for a bowl game. We need a minimum of 1 win to have a chance, but I really think we need to win both to get that opportunity.
That damn Pumphrey kid, 150 yards almost, 147. I mean, Coach, 6 yards a clip against a pretty good Boise State defensive front 7. I mean, they got some guys that might play or get a chance to at least play at the next level. And this kid doesn't matter who he's lining up against, man. He gets big numbers.
Well, that's the key. It doesn't matter who he lines up against because against everybody he's done it. He's already got like 1,400 yards, and Adam Waymo, who was a great running back for us last year, had 1,300 in the whole season. So this kid's got 2 more games left. I've said it all along. He's electrifying. When he gets the ball in his hands, he makes things happen. And, if everybody on our football team played as hard or practiced as hard as DJ Pumphrey, we wouldn't lose any games.
Coach, do you think you got to get better at the quarterback position, and that means recruiting? How's that going so far?
Well, there's no question we got to get better at that. And we're playing a guy who came as a walk-on and played pretty well last year, but then had surgery for spring, didn't practice in spring, and then got his arm hurt against Hawaii, his shoulder, and so he's doing the best he can. But we need to do a better job at quarterback. And I know when I first got here, there are guys that were here and they end up leaving and all because they're just not good enough to play. And we just got to do a better job of recruiting, to be perfectly honest with you, to get better players at that position, because San Diego State should never be without a quarterback.
And especially when you, Brian Sipe, and Rocky, I mean, if I'm one of these California kids that want an opportunity to play at the next level. See, Coach, to me, it's not really so much anything with the program. It's the guys that are in the program that are going to get me prepared for the next level, or the people that I want coaching me. So to me, when I got guys like that can help me and prep me for what my initial goal is, to win games once I get to a college, and then those wins are going to hopefully put me in the room to try to get a shot, I would think there's got to be a lot of kids that want to play for you guys.
I would think so, Dan. You know, I I grew up in this state, and I always highly respected San Diego State, and particularly for their quarterback position. They've always had great quarterbacks, and again, to be in the position we're in right now, you know, we've done a poor job, to put it bluntly, that as far as recruiting quarterbacks, we need to do a better job, and I do think there's some guys in the program that aren't playing right now that are redshirting that have potential to be pretty good, but you know, we need a real good one. If you get a great quarterback, you win a lot of games.
Absolutely, at any level, right, Coach?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you're in college.
Matter. High school, junior high, doesn't matter. Pro, you got to have a great one.
Hey, before I get you out of here, I want to get your thoughts on this selection committee that is picking these big four. I call them the selection four teams that we'll see tonight. You know what, Coach? They got all the power conferences represented, but they don't have anyone from the non-power conferences represented. How is a program like San Diego State supposed to get into that playoff when they're not represented at all?
Well, it's like Marshall or Colorado State or anybody. It's not going to happen, and that's the sad thing. And that's why, you know, I've always been an advocate of a playoff system, but I'm not an advocate of just 4 teams. I think you got to have a minimum of 8 teams. You know, you look at Division I AA. Those guys have been playing the 16-team tournaments for years, and it's exciting, and it'll bring in a lot of money. So they're heading in the right direction with 4 games. Or 4 teams, rather, but in my opinion, it's not enough. I still believe they have to have at least a champion from each league, and then maybe a couple other teams.
Hey, before I get you out of here, you got to have your eye a little bit on UCLA USC this weekend. You got to have your eye on that, just a little bit, Coach.
Well, I do, and the reason I do is because obviously I was the head coach at UCLA, but I was also an assistant for John Robinson at USC when we won the national championship. So I'm a Southern California guy right now. I love that game. It was a great rivalry, and I'm really looking forward to it. And best man wins, as they say.
Wait a minute. Who are you taking? I can't let you get out of here, the mayor. I can't let you get out of here, the mayor of San Diego, on that one.
Did I do good on that?
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. No, my God. He's not throwing it out there.
No, I love them both.
Oh, my God. Good luck, Coach.
Take care, Dan.